What up, Pyro? We have so much to do today. Kia! It's mostly about building, though. Like, goddamn. I don't think we build the Oblitz because, as most people are starting to point out, obliterators are pointless. Or maybe we do. I don't know. I don't think I'll ever use them. Like, if I need to deep strike something on the field, I feel like we just deep strike Terminators, right? Like, Terminators are just more useful for their points than obliterators. And if we're done here, I also stupidly bought a box of Gene Stealers when I went in today to pick up my, this is how this works? Okay. So I bought a box of Gene Stealers because I went in to purchase my Gene Stealer cult codex and cards and all that. And I saw that they had a box of Gene Stealers, so we picked them up. Because most likely, having looked at what we've looked at and having seen all the leaks and the Goonhammer stuff, I'm probably going to be going the detachment that is mostly pure strains and aberrants. What's up, Shammy? What's up, Spage? Alright, let's get the spider butts together. Apparently that's like step one. These aren't that big. We might actually just build the Oblitz to get them out of the way. Get them off of these. Doubt I'll ever use them though, but that's fine. But yeah, we're in a building mood today. What sucks is, like, I ordered a Rhino like a week ago, and I'm really hoping I'm not about to get hit with the same problem we got. No, yeah. But I'm really hoping that this Rhino doesn't get hit with the same problem my Vashtor got hit with originally. Because normally if I order from a place and it's like, yeah, shipping's like a day or two, I'm like, oh yeah, that's good. But if they're like, yeah, shipping's gonna take like a week and a half. Ooh. Hopefully they don't just say it's delivered and not actually deliver it. I'm gonna be very annoyed. Well, the problem with obliterators right now is I think they reduced unit composition, so you can't take 4 anymore. So you don't have like the big meat brick that's annoying. The Melta profile doesn't work from deep strike range, which that's not great, but maybe you try to, it's just an issue I think of their move speed too, right? Like their move speed is 4, I believe. So you're gonna have problems trying to get in on enemies. I could see them being useful if you don't have access to like other forms of anti-infantry, because their blast profile weapons are nice. But I don't know, man, for the points, they just don't feel good. What I'm interested in is when the points changes happen. Because a lot of people are saying anything with OC0 is about to get a drop. And I do use 1 Helldrake. I don't think it does. Hang on, getting a phone call. Let me turn my microphone. Alright, I'm back. Oh, you're talking about the Helldrake against Sisters, because every Sisters player is going to try to go full jump packs. No, yeah. Okay, so when I originally played back in 3rd and 4th, I think they had Obliterators. And I don't know if you remember seeing the Obliterators from before. They were just metal polygonal things that had heads. Like, they looked terrible. It was probably one of the worst models in the entire game. And then they never really changed them while I was playing. Like, they always remained that same polygonal bullshit. So what I did was I had purchased Terminators a long time before that, like Chaos Terminators, that I was like, I'm going to use these. And then I never did. So I had all these parts because I bought a ton of Dreadnoughts and stuff. And I was like, why don't I just green stuff all of this to look like really cool looking Terminator Obliterators and have custom Obliterators for my army. And I loved my Obliterators from back in the day, but that was just because Obliterators were way too overtuned. But yeah, so you're saying the Alpha Legion detachment work with them for forward deploy? I don't think it does. Let me... Chaos Space Marines. The Alpha Legion detachment was... It wasn't Dread Talon, right? Or was it? Dread Talon was supposed to be Night Lord. Deceptors? Yeah, Deceptors. You need Legionary and Cultist mobs. So, no? Because I don't think... Yeah, I don't think that they're... You can select number of units. Remember, until the end of the battle, those units have the Infiltrator's ability. Yeah, you don't... It's just Legionary Cultist mobs. That's all. I think in the jetpack detachment, you take at least 2 squads of jetpacks with good, like, Melta weaponry, because isn't their whole purpose to just 3-inch deep strike on something and kill it? It's literally just a way to get around screening units. You take a small squad of really good Raptors at either killing infantry... Oh no, you need Legionaries, so it's just the main units. Believe me, I was looking around, because originally I thought anything coming in from reserves for the Night Lord, the Dread Talon detachment, I thought that was what was going to do it. I was like, oh, dude, you take a Blitz and Dread Talons. But no, it's just jump packs. I think maybe the only situation that might be super helpful for Oblitz is Renegades, right? You would have to rapid ingress the Oblitz in a way where they can't be seen to be shot, and you attempt to roll a thing as assault. So, for maybe I love the Fellhammer rule, but I also like the Fellhammer rule. Like, the Fellhammer rule is hated by one of the people from the store that I keep playing to try to get reps in with my armies. And the Death Guard he uses... Oh, is it still? Hang on. I thought I fixed this. How about now? I could have swore I fixed this. Is it still going? I feel like for 2 days we just didn't have robot stuff. I don't know what's happening. I'm gonna turn off the LCF. Maybe it has to be the LCF. What's this other one got? So originally I thought it was because I turned the power enhancement on my my little mixer over here, and then I turned it off and it stopped. But now if it's happening again, it's not the power. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I'm just turning off LCF because maybe the LCF function is problematic. Oh, I need to get my other microphone over here so I don't have to deal with the wireless mics. So my current plan with the Soulforged is we're gonna have one squad with the Forge Fiends, right? One squad with Forge Fiends that moves around with the one Warp Smith with the full rerolls, and then we're gonna have this squad, the Venom Crawler squad, is going to wander around with the other Warp Smith that has the plus 4-inch movement bonus. And then we're going to put a Hellbrute in each of those squads. Just for the double pack thing. Because the autocannons are scary. I did. I looked into the Goonhammer stuff for what's changing. They're reining in some GSC stuff. Like, the biggest element GSC had right now is the Aberrants, which is what I was using for a while. They were so crazy that when I went to play some games at my local store to test them out, like, back when the Custodes were really good, like, before the Codex kind of reined them in a little bit, I played against a Custodes player who figured he had it in the bag. I mean, he was doing really well. He was getting a lot of the strategy function down. His units were really durable and strong, so like he played the game, and he played the game well. And then he ran into my Aberrant squad with 2 Custodes Warden squads and didn't kill them all. A lot of them were still alive after he rolled all of his attacks, and then I killed almost one whole squad of his Wardens in return. And he was like, oh god. He didn't know what to do. And the big change is the Feel No Pain is no longer 4, it's a 5 now or something. Like, it's a basic Feel No Pain. They get like less strength, I think it's less strength generally. Like less strength, less AP or damage. I feel like that was kind of needed, and if they get points drops on top of it, I'm actually happy. Because then I'll be able to field both pretty easily in my new loadout. I mean, everything looks bad. This is the problem with Codex releases and people who kind of settle in with how the rules are at the first place. Like, rules are going to change. This is why whenever anyone comes into the store and is like, what army should I play? We tell them to pick the one they like, because the rules are going to shift so rapidly that your army's going to feel one way for like half a year, and then it's going to feel another way for the latter half. It's just how it is, man. Pick the army you want to play. Just go with it. It's going to be ups and downs. You're going to find paths in the meta to try to do good things. And that's about it. But at this point, I'm buying Gene Stealers. I'm going to have to pick up some more Gene Stealers. I got 1 box so far. And then I'm going to be buying... I think that's it for them, actually. Because I am going to go that detachment that's Aberrants and Pure Strains. I don't know if I'm going to go Biophagus. Even though, you know, I am a Biophagus. So, I don't know. I like the idea of the Biophagus, but I feel like he's way too susceptible to precision attacks that a lot of armies are starting to try to have a little bit of in their, like, whole army. Like, precision is actually kind of huge. Being able to just pick a unit and be like, dead, is way too good. Go. See, why can't more models be like this? I feel like models like Vashdor it's monopose pretty much. There's not a lot you're doing to it to make it stand out and be different. But like this middle part of the body was maybe 10 pieces versus this entire middle part of the body, which is 1, 2, and that is it. You are done. Mission accomplished. No, yeah, faction identity's still there. They still get the revive function. So that's good. Although the revive function still exists in the realm of you're gonna get screwed over probably. Like, high chance you're gonna have one game where you're like, oh yeah, you killed the squad I needed you to kill after it did the thing I needed it to do, and now all I gotta do is bring it back and you won't be able to, oh, I rolled bad. Like, that's the game. Speaking of which, I bought new dice after talking about that one game that I played with the dice that I've been using for like a year now, that decided that out of 26 total rolls, I would only hit once on a 3+. And then the wound would fail and then re-roll into a fail on a strength 10 weapon. Yeah, that's the thing though. I've always, like, I try to always refer to when someone's bringing it up, because people in the store will be like, oh, collect what you like, look around, see what you like. I try to always factor in the sum of the identity. You can build away from the identity if you want, that's always an option. But some of the identity is at least semi-valuable in your understanding of what you want to build. Like, because it's one thing to be like, build what you like, and then someone sees Angron and is like, I love Angron. Angron looks really cool. I can't wait to play World Eaters as a ranged heavy army. It's like, nope, stop. Let's take a step back. Do you like this thing over here? No, okay. You were rolling for 6s. I was rolling for 3s. And I had full rerolls. It was 13 attacks. I rolled 13 attacks on the triple plasma cannons on my Forge Fiend. I got 13 into the guy's Death Guard squad. And I was like, oh, this will kill most of them, and then I don't have to worry about them anymore, and this will be great, because then, like, what are they gonna do? They're gonna have to battle shock every round, and they're gonna be like only 2 guys left, so who cares at that point? I can finish them whenever. This will be fantastic. And then I rolled 13 dice, and I got 1/6 for a lethal sustain. And I went, okay, I'm just gonna reroll everything and fish. Rerolled everything, including rerolled everything, failed all of it, right? Everything was a 1 and a 2, all of it. On 13 dice, it was a 1 and a 2. So the only, oh wait, no, I didn't get a lethal. That's right, no, the initial roll was, I never got a 6 in the entire roll. It was 13 dice, I got 1, no, I didn't get a single 6. I got 4 hits. And I was like, oh, that's garbage. So I picked everything up and I was like, I'm just going to re-roll, because if I get 6s, that's great. So I re-rolled the 13 dice, 1s and 2s. One of them was a 4. That was it. 1 was a 4. And I was like, oh dear God. And then I picked that 4 up and I was like, all right, 2 to wound. I rolled it and I got a 1. I picked it back up. I rolled it again and I got a 1. And I was just like, it just felt so bad. And that was the whole game. Every time I rolled, I was barely rolling above a 2 anymore. And we were sitting there talking about it, and he was like, he felt like throughout all of his time playing, he felt like most of the GW dice that they sold weren't balanced well. He was like, dude, every GW dice I've ever rolled, barring like the one guy at the store who has the Slaanesh dice from AOS, he's like, dude, every single one. I had the Necron dice, they never rolled well. I bought the Orc dice when I started playing Orcs, they never rolled well. Like, I always felt like I was rolling well below averages across all those dice. And then he kind of moved on to like casino dice, and he started seeing that he was getting like more middling rolls, like he was getting more average. And he was like, dude, I'm pretty sure GW just, most of their dice aren't balanced. You got to just look into getting kind of like basic balanced dice. Like, just go for some basic stuff. So I bought some Chessex. I just went online. I was like, screw it. Chessex is cheap. I know people make fun of them for being like the bargain bin dice. But like, I want different dice at this point. I just wanted different dice. So I bought like 4 boxes of them, of the gold and blue. And for the, not even kid, this is the anxiety in me. Basically, I'll be sitting in my room and I'll be putting together some artwork, something, right? And out of nowhere, my brain goes, let's test it. And then I'll move over. I'll immediately just be like, ha, and just go into my drawer that I have next to me that has my new rolling tray. By the way, new rolling trays. I actually have one here. I can show you guys. They're awesome. They're so cool. I love them. So I originally had the old octagonal ones, which were kind of small. These are freaking huge, man. Yeah. Yeah. Look at this. So what you do is you just fold this side up, fold these sides in, and then they magnetize. Now you have a giant box. Like, Vash for scale. So I'll pull out the red velvet version of that box and all my dice, and I'll run one of these guys shooting into a squad of people with the enhanced hit rate from the Warpsmith without it. The packed versions based on enemies. Like, I'll go, all right, toughness 3 units. I wouldn't Vash pack, so we're rolling into the 6 for this type of stuff. But, like, that's what I'm doing in my brain. It's just like, here we go. Let's see how these work. And I'll roll it. I have yet in 2 weeks to get a roll that wasn't at least close to average, right? Like, it'll be slightly below, but not like you rolled 12 dice, you missed everything. Have fun. It'll be maybe about like 3/4 hits or more, or it'll explode because lethal sustained on the pact with this guy based on the Hellbrute being there. I'll roll like 12 dice, I'll get like 8 6s. That's insane. That's a dead unit. I don't care what that is. I'm trying to keep in memory that these guys probably want the faction ploy that gives them +1 AP. That way it's auto cannons hitting strength 6, AP 2 at that point, 2 damage per, which is really nice. And as far as I could tell, I thought they nerfed these. I thought they nerfed the warps or the venom crawlers to only gain the attack enhancement if they kill in the assault phase. I thought that's what they did, but then I double checked it and no. Even the cards are still like, yeah, no, these guys just, if they get a kill at the end of the phase, you get +1. It's like, oh, I think they worded it so that if I kill 2 units in the same phase, like if I split my shots into 2 units that are like 1 dude with 1 health left, and I kill them, I think I get +2 attacks. I have to double check that. So yeah, venom crawlers, super strong. Can't wait to use them. I might look at Baron of Dice, but the Chessex dice seem fine for now. Basically what's going to happen is I'm going to keep doing that on my own. They're going to keep rolling really well, and then I'm going to play a game, and I'm not going to roll above a 2. And I'm going to assume it's just me. I'm going to keep playing the game, but everyone I play against is going to assume they're going to win at that point. Because, like, what else would it be? sure we got everything off of here. Yeah, I think I'm done with GW dice. Down the road, man. Definitely. Like, I do want to eventually get to that place where we have a fun community. We got the Patreon going. I can give you guys cool stuff because we make enough. I'll be happy. It'd be good. No, yeah, they look nice. They are pricey. My thing was, like, the ones I was using were just hot garbage. Like, I'll mentally take in every game that I've played with my GW dice. Like, I have the Disciples of Tzeentch dice from AOS, because, you know, it's my jam, basically. It's my jam. And, I'll try to think of, like, the last 30 games I played with them, and out of hundreds of dice rolls, I might have only seen, like, 4 6s. And then with my smaller dice, because I bought the Maelstrom dice, which I love how the Maelstrom dice look. I really wish I bought all the Maelstrom dice the store that I went to had, but I only bought the one because I was like, oh, there's probably more elsewhere. No, there's not more elsewhere. But even that, it doesn't matter because those roll poorly too. Those have the skulls for ones, and I feel like I see so many skulls every time I roll. Like, so many skulls. Building is going. All right, we're just doing it, Arturo. We're just going. We're going to try to get both of these guys built, and then we'll probably debate building the Oblets just to get them out of the way, even though I'm probably not going to use them. But I do have a box of Genestealers, because we do need to build some Pure Strains for my Genestealer Cult army in preparation for the new Codex, because I will be playing that version of them. All right, what do we need? We need the face goggles, the 2 tentacles, and the back spiky bits. But yeah, we got the venom crawlers. Weirdly, the last of my rhinos are going to be the last thing that I get for this army list. And then the new season will come out shortly after. And I'm going to need to see if we need to get anything else. So I have 3 warp smiths. And I'm kind of hoping that if I have... Oh no. If I have points... If we actually end up getting points... Right? Rats! If we end up getting the points that really shrink down my costs, because the whole... they still have that concept out there that OC 0 units are going to get a points drop, which means my Helldrake will be a points drop. And we'll see how well that works out for me. We'll see if it just balances itself out. We'll see if I need to cut stuff from my list, or if I need to add things. I'll have an extra Warpsmith just in case, because Warpsmiths are actually super important for this list. If I can fit 3 in, I'll be happy. Because I could always put 2 on the Forge Fiends. Because if 2 are on the Forge Fiends, that means I've got 2 Forge Fiends hitting you on a 2+, full rerolls. I don't think there's a human being that exists that plays 40k who would enjoy that. That is me stepping into the open and wiping out frickin' tanks, whole squads of people. AP 3, damage 3, come on. If I really want to kill it, and it doesn't have an invulnerable, I'll pay a command point. AP 4, baby. Enjoy it. I see now why they boxed this in together. This was, in my opinion, the worst idea Games Workshop has had for these units. Double boxing, because the bits for the Oblitz and the bits for the Venom Crawler are on the same thing. Oh, God. Why would you do this? What was the day for AOS? Everyone's still talking about it in my local. Like, so many people are getting hyped for AOS. The people who play AOS are getting hyped for the fact that they're going to have new people to play against for AOS. I need to get my, my flamers painted. We actually need to do that, which is why I'm really hoping I get the Rhino soon. Because once we get the Rhino built, we're painting. I don't need to paint the Genestealer cults anytime soon, even though it could be fun. But I'm trying to focus on the Chaos Space Marine list. Glad people are liking the video so far. The new video that I dropped. I'm waiting though. I know we're gonna get that crowd of people at some point who are just like, it's meta for a reason. You shouldn't tell people wrong information like this. I'm gonna be like, alright, man. Do we Tamiya this to get rid of that mold line? Because that is a massive mold line. I think we do. The Tamiya mold line trick. Tamiya is so good as a multi-purpose glue. Because if you see mold lines on stuff and you're like, I really don't want to just trim that, hit it with a light amount of Tamiya. But yeah, a lot of us are excited about new AOS. Lunch break stream. So the idea still stands for the paint job on these. We're going to try to make their asses glow. And then we're going to try to make their bases have like a pool of swirling fluorescent oil under it. No, yeah. Like, the thing is, whenever I make a video, I always try to keep it in my head that the community I'm making the videos for have just miserable people in it. Like, I've watched tournaments over on Wargames Live, and it's great. Like, he goes to tournaments that are big and small, and he checks out all this stuff, and he brings a lot of eyes to the scene, and he's doing good work, and he has a great community. But every single time I go to that channel and watch stuff, there's always like that one person or two people who always pop in and just start being assholes. Because that's the community, man. anytime you've got that nerd level community going, you're always gonna get that one person who's just like, this guy's paint job is shit. It's like, come on, dude. Calm thy tits. Where do these glue into? Oh, the main hole is left empty. I'm guessing that just becomes something else? Thanks, Joyous. We try to have fun here and make cool things. Ooh, that snap-in. That felt really good. The thing is, you're almost certain that the person who's saying that on his channel, talking about people's paint jobs for their army, like, you're almost certain that their paint jobs are barely even close in quality. It's just somebody who wants to make sure that they don't feel bad for how bad their stuff might be. And they just want to, like, push that on someone else for some reason. Like, this is dumb. Okay, we gotta figure out how to put this together. Oh, thanks, Adam. I hope it's okay. It's hard to articulate because whenever I see people talk about lists and stuff like that, the answers they always bring up tend to be related to just like, oh, this is the best unit. Like, I use a Helldrake in my Vash list for Soulforged because I like some of the roles it fills for the points value. I know the points are expensive, but like, I think it could work in certain situations. And I want to, like, you know, do that. I want to have that opportunity to just be like, oh yeah. Okay, how the hell does this go in? Is it this way? No. And, like, I know people are going to kind of make fun of me for going the route of being like, I want to use these guys. Is it right? Is this the right shape? This is supposed to go, like, this way. But I like it. I like using them. And I think everyone's going to kind of like mock it a little bit until it has its shining moment. Dude, I am waiting for the moment, right? I'm waiting for that moment where someone brings like a really good flying character to the game and it's just like, oh, why do you have a Helldrake? And then I just end it. I'm just like, this is why. Hey-ya! Get boned. And Kill Team's much the same way. You have to craft a list to match what you're about to deal with. You have to. If you don't, you're going to feel so much weaker for it. People are going to easily outplay you. And I'm kind of hoping that this video shows that the choices you make and what you bring to the table is very important. Which is not an easy thing, in my opinion, to articulate. Yeah, you take the thing that they're gonna look at you like you're an idiot, and they're gonna be like, "Why'd you take that instead of plasma?" And you're gonna be like, "You can't make 6 saves or 5 saves, buddy, and I know what your health looks like." It's gonna suck for you. That's good. I hope it grows communities, because it's a good game. And then, of course, the main thing we all hope at this point, I think, as a community, is that when Games Workshop changes up to Kill Team 3.0, that it's just an evolution of what we are already doing. That's like the biggest hope I think everyone has right now, is that the next iteration is just, hey, you're going to be playing Kill Team with slightly more tied down rules. And that's kind of what we all really want. I really want them to be more transparent with like how turns work. I want them to be more transparent with how certain interactions work. I need them to make it feel like a tighter rule set. And if that's what 3.0 does, I'll be happy. I definitely feel like they're trying to adjust the way Kill Team works, because I don't know if they're going to want to keep doing specialist teams. Because you also have to assume that when they make a specialist box, they're going to want that specialist box to be purchased by people who play 40k, so that once they saturate the Kill Team market with it, they'll still have people to sell to, even if they're not going to play Kill Team, which is why I think the Night Lords box was such a good idea, because technically that's just an upgrade sprue for Legionaries, which means people who really enjoy Night Lords, as they are a fan favorite, will pick that box up from Kill Team. I've had people locally do this. They're all super excited to have like a really good Night Lords themed squad for their 40k army. I do expect them to change Fly, 100%. I think what we're seeing with the Harlequins right now is a lot closer to what Fly is going to be in 3.0. Because Fly is way too strong. Way too strong. Fly is so strong. So what they did with the Harlequin change is probably going to end up being what happens with everyone else. Like even like the Hearthkin jump pack trooper, stuff like that. The Shade Runner. I think that just kind of becomes the norm. Oh, you got the Chaos Codex? Sweet. End of the day, the only thing I'm hoping for in Kill Team is Tyranids. My bug brothers. It's so weird that Genestealer cults got more kill teams right now than Tyranids. Well, the fly adjustment, I mean, if you know the Harlequin adjustment, all it does is it's going to let you go over top of people's stands, like their bases, which that's pretty strong if you think about it. It's a little limited in timing, but it's still pretty strong. There we go. That was a hard one to put down. And that one looks flush. They just look so different, though. Weird. And then instead, and I actually brought this up because a lot of people really don't like the climbing rules in 40K as well. Like how the fly stuff works in 40K. And I brought up the whole idea of, in Kill Team, if you're going to fly to the top of something, it now just costs 2 movement points. Like, it just costs 2 inches. And that's all it is. That's what fly does. And Kill Team, they're like, dude, if they brought that to 40K, it would make everything so much simpler. Because you're not measuring for Pythagorean theorem anymore, which is insane. What's up, Go For It? How you doing? I know I'm going to be getting the Genestealer Cult Codex soon, but I don't know if I'm going to be focusing on playing them necessarily. I might try to slow play getting their parts together. 23, where's 22? There it is. Because I feel like I'm going to want at least 3 more boxes of Genestealers. Maybe. The issue is we got to play into the meta for the next game, and battle line is actually super important. So I'm going to have to balance Aberrants, Pure Strains, and Acolytes, because I still want to use Acolytes. Even though they did nerf Acolytes to the floor, they also seem to have changed their negatives a bit. It sounds like Acolytes now have the same benefit that Thousand Suns get, which is the ability to reroll, I want to say, wounds on people who are on points. And then the main thing I want to do with that... What's up, Caleb? The main thing I want to do with that is I want to try to put Primuses in their squads for the full rerolls of hits. I think that'll work. Get a couple Primuses, get a couple Acolytes and Trucks, and then get some Abominants. We'll be good. Aberrants, Abominants, and Pure Strains. Pure Strains to play up early, do some stuff early. What's cool is that they made the Patriarch no longer a unique character for Genestealer cults. That ended up being really neat, because now he can get equipment, which is important. Because there is a piece of equipment in the loadout that I'm going for that just makes him really strong. So I might end up getting a Patriarch. I don't know. I didn't want one before, but him in a squad of Pure Strains at the front line, oh, it's so good. So stupidly good. You put a squad of bait Pure Strains ahead of him, and then you put him and his squad behind. Just have them pop out and go for it with their bonus to charge rolls and everything. Straight blender people. I mean, they wouldn't. It feels strange even because of how many characters they have, of course, but it doesn't feel strange as well. Because technically, Genestealer cults don't live long enough to really have that moment. Technically, they do in what was it? The new Necromunda team, because that Gene Stealer, like, he just survived. And now there really isn't, like, a world that he's near. There's no Tyranids coming to eat him and everyone on the planet. There's none of that. None of that's a thing. So now he's a named character because he's existed for that long, and he's changed how all that works. But it's not in 40k, because that's kind of not lore. I mean, you see Gene Stealer cults. The meta reason you're seeing them is because a giant cloud of creatures is about to come from outer space and eat you all. Alright. See how these go on. This might be, I think, Talon's up, right? Hell yeah. Butt cannons. God, these things are so good. Getting some Cowboy Bebop vibes from the music. Still love that they give them like these little night vision goggle sets on the front of their eyes. It's so weird. These were a fun addition to Chaos. They were kind of cool to see when I came back. I just never expected to use them, because I was Thousand Suns at the time, and Thousand Suns don't get access to Venom Crawlers. But Thousand Suns also don't have a new codex, so... I am actually a little worried about the Thousand Suns codex. I've been kind of thinking about this for a while now. I don't really like the Cabal point system. Not the way that it currently is. Because the current iteration of the Cabal point system means that all the detachments that are going to come out after are going to use the same Cabal point enhancements that are currently active, which feels weird to me. Like, it feels like they should be more thematic with detachment, but that's not the way it's going to go. So no matter what detachment you get, if you get a detachment that's Zangor related, you're still going to have the double move, you're still going to have the reroll armor save, the Doom Bolt. That's it. It's the upper limit for how that's going to work. Alright, Butt Jets 2021. And that feels kind of bad, in my opinion. It's definitely a little bit too much to use Cabal points differently per detachment. But what I'm kind of hoping they do to adjust is on release, they reduce the amount of Cabal point actions that are universal down to like 2 or maybe 4. And then every sub detachment gets like their own 2, right? Like they have a special 2. Because if I'm going to go a Zangor specific unit, it'd be really cool if there was a Cabal point function that was just straight up like your melee is now at +1 strength, +1 weapon skill. Because Zangors suck. I'm not going to ever step forward and go, man, they're actually really good. They suck. They really do. They suck a whole lot. But if you could have a detachment that had a Cabal point function that made a squad of 20 Zangors wielding dual Zangor blades suddenly become the most horrifying prospect for anyone to have to fight in combat. I'm down. Give me like a 5 Cabal point. Give unit fights first. Let's go. It doesn't do any of the side marks. What I'm doing, because marks don't matter outside of the the Packbound Zealot list, marks don't really matter. I'm just theming my Thousand Suns to be the Soul Forged. This guy's gonna be painted like my Thousand Sun color scheme. He's gonna have the gold trim armor. He's gonna have the probably burgundy to blue blend down his armor front. It's why my Warpsmiths look like Thousand Sun sorcerers. You know, they give you a ton of parts for that. Oh no! I knew this was gonna be a problem, gluing this guy on. I might need to use regular glue for this. Alright, we're going to work on the little dudes when I'm done my Venom Crawlers. I really want the baby Screamers to be on him. Look like they're hovering around. We'll have to sort that out. So yeah, you don't have access necessarily to World Eaters or anything. You can pull them in if you want to actually use Khorne Berserkers. But the reality is that the... how does this go on? The reality is... I actually don't know how to put these on. Oh, I get it now. Okay. The way it kind of works is that most of the basic units, like Word Bearers or World Eaters, Rubric Marines, and all that, they all have the same base sizes. They're all 32s, right? So what you can do, if you want, is to just be like, all right, my rubrics are legionary. You can take them as allies if you want, but you'll lose out on the packs. I think the only sub-faction that actually exists, though, from that codex is Emperor's Children, because they split Emperor's Children from the main codex, you know, basically revealing to the world that we're getting an Emperor's Children codex. Cough, cough. I have a Dono thing currently active. Cough, cough. Emperor's Children donation fund. Cough, cough. So the Emperor's Children can be used in the Chaos Codex. They have their own detachment, technically. They get the same abilities right now as the Chaos Codex detachment. You have to run Lucius as your leader in order to make your Noise Marines battle line. It's a way to prevent a Chaos Space Marine list from taking Lucius without being Emperor's Children. You can still take Noise Marines in the list, but I think they're just not battle line in general. But you can also take Rubric Marines, which are battle line. You can take Khorne Berserkers, which should be battle line. Oh, Caleb, you're wondering how are you wondering how they keep coming back? The main overall detachment ability for Genestealer cults is to come back. It's the same universal rule. That's their team rule. The current index rule is that if they come back for an entire 2-round sequence after they come back, they'll have sustained 1. Or it's like end of phase. There's a limit to it, but they just get sustained 1. That's the whole thing. That's what they are right now. I'm going to be getting +1 to charge rolls, as well as some bonuses to, you know, attacks and all that from the Aberrant Pure Strain combo. It's kind of what I'm looking forward to. Alright, now we gotta get the legs on. Looks like we gotta get 4 of these basic AF legs, it looks like. There are no numbers with them? No, there are. So yeah, I'm just worried how the Thousand Sun Codex is going to feel, because I love Thousand Suns. I don't like the direction that the current list it went in. I like it from the perspective of I'm planning to not do anything even closely related to how it works right now. Like, I tried. I really did. I learned what the meta lists were. I attempted to run a meta list. I don't like the meta list. I don't... After running Soulforged and seeing that my army is like 3 times the size of what the meta Thousand Suns list is, I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like that concept. I don't like that combo. I'm putting a lot of emphasis on whether or not I'm going to roll well. The idea of basically boiling an entire game down to whether or not my frickin' what is it? My frickin' Infernal Master rolls a decent 2d6 into a squad of people. Yeah, I don't like that. I want other options. I want other potentials. I'm seeing the absolute benefit that one of the people I've been going against has with his Death Guard, where he just has attacks. Like, if he gets to me with his Death Guard squad, I'm about to take like 40 attacks. He just has all these melee toned, or yeah, melee centric, melee tuned Death Guard. And that is a scary prospect. Lethal on 5s with like 40 attacks. With good damage lines, good, like, you're just dying. He's killing everything with that if he gets to you. Meanwhile, I'm just out here playing Thousand Suns like, well, let me fire into your Death Guard squad with my 2d6. Oh, 3 attacks. Well then. Do I pick my squad up now, or... Because that always seems to be the case when I play Thousand Suns, or even Knights. Knights not so much, because the amount of attacks my Knights put out are nice. And they got even better now. I'm going Tyrant, I'm going Despoiler. My Knights are going to be okay. They're kind of buffing Knights, although they're also kind of nerfing Knights. They got that one rule that exists now for like a specialty rule where your leaders, if they're in like outside of your deployment zone, they give +1 to battle shock tests. Literally the poke in the eye for every Chaos Knights player. I watched a Chaos Knights player at the last tournament though go undefeated. That was pretty cool. He went 1 Lancer, all War Dogs, and then the standard selection of Nurglings and Plague Bearers. Pretty meta, pretty basic for the allies. It was good to see the Spear Wielder do so much work. That was pretty cool. He ripped a Tau player's face off. Everyone in the chat for the show was like, yo, Kroot's about to beat Knights. And then the Knights were like, yo, all your guys are dead, like turn 3. It was so rough. That's what happens when Knights roll well. I wish I could do that. Maybe with my new dice I can. And that'll be good. I'm just Omega tier happy that my Tyrant idea will be good, because it just makes sure that my backline, you can't deep strike within 12 inches of him. He'll just hang out. Do what he needs to do. If he has to do actions on points, he will. Despoiler comes in or stays in. I don't even know. I don't know what to do with my Despoiler. Either he comes in turn 2 off a table edge to try to get some line of sight, and then unload dual battle cannons into someone. Which, that's just death. It's 4d6 plus 12. Strength 10. Straight murder. Although I think I was going to go Gatling, because Gatling's a bit better for the sustain. Like the overall hits. And I know that they have the stubbers underneath, which kind of sucks, but I don't really know about the dual flamers. I think flamers could be good though, because if he's going to play forward and I kill like something important and then I get charged, I'll at least be able to shoot in my phase into the squad next to me with flamers. Because he can't overwatch with them, which sucks, but that's how it works. But at the very least, he'll have a really good weapon option to try to clear people off of him. I think my Knights team will be okay. I mean, I am bulk Brigands, and I am bulk Carnivores, and I think both of those are battle line. So I'll have good battle line for that function. And my Carnivores will be able to do, like, good work. They clarified further that the only ones who can perform actions on points or in situations and still shoot are the characters, which means the larger Knights. So the dogs and everything will still have to kind of decide whether they want to do anything or not. I'm interested. I'm interested to see where the rules go. Interested to see where the mission types change. The Goonhammer overview of all of it seemed pretty interesting. There's some swingy bits, some upsides, some downsides. As a lot of people are saying, this new meta is going to be very melee heavy, just because the new setups and everything are very close. Like, melee will be able to get to you in a turn, it looks like. You're really going to have to back off and hope that they make some bad decisions and lose some charge rolls. Kind of sucks for me. I'm going to have 2 Mauler Fiends at the very least, so that's good. But I don't know if Mauler Fiends are straight up like the, hey, you win unit. Hey, you won this melee. Because I had 2 of them against Death Guard, and none of them were able to swing. Like, none of them were able to swing. He was using the leader type that gives them fights first, as well as the lethal on 5. That was insane, man. Getting hit with that was wild. There's almost nothing I could do to stop it. Alright, we need to try to figure out which ones of these are what. Welcome back, Shams. Got taking meetings in the middle of our important stream time. Who does he think he is? So yeah. I got the pre-order in for my Genestealer Cult Codex, the cards, as well as the Pariah Nexus mission decks. It'll be good. It'll be good. How do these legs go? They go slightly forward. Okay. Yeah, tell them you're doing something important, please. I'm not a rat player. Insofar as I played Genestealer Cults, which is very close, but not quite there. My AOS choice is still Disciples of Tzeentch. I've spent way too much money on too many armies. I am not financially sound. It was all very bad decisions. But we are here, and we did it. Like, seriously, I hopped online when I was thinking of picking up my Venom Crawlers, and I was just like, maybe I'll grab them next month. Nope. I kind of wish they gave Genestealer Cults the same concept, right? Like the holes that you hide in as rats, the gnaw hole. That'd be cool. Just a big piece of terrain moving around the map. Wasn't that the mining drill? I thought the mining drill, the old Genestealer Cult mining drill, was supposed to be kind of like that. As long as it was set up on the field, like, people could just show up wherever the hell they wanted. Just, haha! Here we are! Games Workshop is very clear that they seem to want to move away from fortifications. Back legs. Oh, nice. We're pretty much done. We just got to get these back legs on, which are apparently 4 parts each. Jesus Christ. 18, 16, 17. Still can't paint because I don't have my Rhino. It's the last thing I need before the points changes. Screw me up completely. They're gonna up Forge Fiend cost. I can feel it. They're gonna be like, alright, yeah, Helldrake down 10 points. Forge Fiend's up 20 points each. I'm like, no! God damn it. They're gonna ruin me. So much ragtime on this playlist, man. The hope is that the Mauler Fiend actually drops, though. Like, if the Mauler Fiend drops in points, that'd be also great. That and the Hellbrute. If they finally realize that Hellbrutes are kind of shit and probably shouldn't be as many points as they are, I'd be pretty happy with that, actually. That would be pretty nice. Just give me an 120 point Hellbrute. Where's the other leg component? There it is. Do we build the Oblets? I feel like if we build the Oblets, it's just going to be out of like a sort of nostalgia. Because I'm not going to lie, the way the Oblets look now is almost exactly how I custom built my old Oblets using Terminator parts. Like, the Oblets I used to run back in the day were just Terminators with, like, heavy bolters and autocannons and las cannons from my old Dreadnought sprues. Like, glued to them and then green stuffed on. That was how I did that. And I loved how it looked. It was so much better looking than the Oblets that we had at the time. And then I, you know, stopped playing. Started doing other stuff. And then I get back and I find out that the new Oblets models are basically the models I made.
Hoggers.
As plastic kits, which is pretty pog. What up, Arturo? Dropping the $9.99. Hopefully that helps towards the Emp's Children's slash the pure strains I'm gonna have to purchase here soon. No. Next month's budget was supposed to be exclusively display cases and a travel box. That was next month's budget in my head. Display cases, travel box. But now I'm out here like, I'm gonna need to buy 3 boxes of pure strains. At the very least, I think I'm going to be okay in the thought that my Disciples of Tzeentch, like, whatever I got. If it's weak, it's weak. Like, that's the reality I think I'm leaning into with my Disciples of Tzeentch. I'll play. My list is probably not going to be amazing, but I'll play. Don't expect to practice for Adepticon. But we're out here finding out that AOS actually got Combat Patrol for their version of Knights. That's so wild to think that AOS was like, hell yeah, man. You can take a couple giants. It'd be like if 40k had a 3 War Dog Combat Patrol. Be so wild to play into. There's a guy locally who plays Giants, and yeah, he was like, he saw that and he was like, all right, I guess I'm playing Spearhead. That'll be fun. Okay. So we need this. It goes on this way, I think. No. It goes on this side. There we go. It's going to need to do that. Excellent. Boop, 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 boop. I really hope I don't have to order anything else for this list. Like, actually, in my head, worst case scenario, I get 50 points to spare off of the points changes, and I gotta buy more freaking cultists. I'm gonna hate it, man. I'm gonna love it because freaking Battle Line, and you know, Battle Line does all the stuff, but I'm gonna hate it too. Because we're already up to 30 cultists. The initial rules, I think they said they were following the same pattern as 10th edition 40k, because people seem to like it, even though I don't like the continuation of it. I do still think that even if they want to charge you for books and stuff, there should be a digital option for people who can't easily get the books, or people who show up late and would like to play certain armies that are sold out books-wise. But yeah, the new app's supposed to work with it. Or there's supposed to be a new app. Can't remember if they're just merging it all or not. But yeah, you're gonna get indexes. Everything's being re-indexed. They've already gone over some of the adjustments and changes that they were thinking of. And then over time, new codexes will come out to override the indexes. You'll also be able to purchase, you know, physical editions of the regular rules. And then there should be a crusade situation, whatever the like running narrative campaign situation is, released as like a separate thing. But yeah, spearhead rules should be dropped kind of like on their own, along with the indexes. And as far as anyone can tell, the boxes that already exist right now for like vanguards and stuff, that's what your boxes are going to be. There's going to be a few that are added, like the giant ones. But for the most part, if you already have the units that come in your army's Vanguard box, you've got your spearhead. Which, that's why we're painting the Screamers. Once I get 3 Screamers painted, we're good. We've got my Vanguard. Apparently what's going to happen is there's going to be a league that occurs over the course of 2 weeks or 3 weeks locally. And then in the final week, there's going to be a tournament hosted by one of the players. He wants to run a tournament. I don't know how he's going to pull that off because I think he wants to run it out of the store, and there's only 3 tables in the store. So it's going to be one of those situations where everyone signs up for it and you need to show up on your days that you decide on for timing. And it's probably going to last like 4 months so that everyone can get the games they need in. There we go. Ooh, baby, a Venom Crawler. Let's get the other one's legs going. Core rules and indexes being free is good. The thing is that the indexes become outdated and unusable when codexes drop, from my understanding. So whatever you're playing, the moment the book drops, you need it. And I hate that. I still stand by my idea that if you pay the monthly fee for their app, you should just get it. I think that would pull way more people into the app than Games Workshop expects. I feel like it would also, at their pricing, reduce the amount of like drive to get piracy stuff together for this. Like how Waha works and all the new websites that keep popping up to try to be as useful. But we get what we get right now. I do think that them doing core rules separately is definitely a win, though. It's a bit of a win. Because those rulebooks were always way too big, man. And for people looking to try to, like, learn the rules and kind of master them, having it in a digital format is so much easier with the search function. Because in my brain, if I'm just like, I'm pretty sure I saw something in here about consolidating, and the way that consolidation works being a little different than I see people using, let me see if I can keyword search to figure that out. And then, yeah, you find it. You're out here discovering that people have been doing it wrong. Apparently it's still one of like the biggest things that occurs in a game that people mistake when they do it, because it seems like you should be able to choose, but you can't. The only thing you can choose is whether or not you take advantage of it. That's it. You declare that you're gonna do it, or that you're not gonna do it. Then when you declare you're gonna do it, you go down the steps. It's basically, if you're next to an enemy unit, you have to hit the enemy unit. If not, then you can go to an objective. And if you can't make it to the objective, you can't even move. That's the checklist. Because there's been a lot of games where people are like, oh, I'll just consolidate onto the point and I'll win because I'll have the point at the end of this round and I score at the end of the final round and that'll allow me to win. When the reality is, like, there's a dude nearby who you'd have to go into instead. Dude, learning all the weird stuff about how this game works is quite awesome. Did you know the trick? Did you know the trick to get around units with fights first when it's your time to play? It's a fun trick. You can do it with vehicles, is the big thing. So if there's a squad, like this happened in the Death Guard game that I played, he made sure his melee units had fights first. But he had a Rhino on the field that was sitting next to one of his fights first squads. So what I could do as a player, I got that Rhino down to like 2 wounds. And I had next to it a Hellbrute. You can do this with almost any tank that has any kind of like melee profile in general, right? The trick is, if you want that Rhino dead and he has a squad next to it, you could take your Hellbrute, which I had. You could tank shock charge the Rhino, but position yourself in such a way where you are 3 inches away from the about 3 inches away from the Death Guard. So you tank shock charge the tank, you blow it up. Here's the thing. You succeeded in a charge with this unit, which means this unit is eligible to be chosen in your fight's first phase to attack an enemy unit, which means you now have this free floating unit that is able to move 3 inches into enemy units to try to grab an enemy squad or increase the amount of people it's near, whatever it's supposed to do, if it's not already in base to base. And it's not. So it's standing in the open. The tank that it ran into blew up. You now pick it for fights first. You can do it at the beginning or later. It doesn't matter. As long as it's in the fights first phase, because he does get the conferred fights first. You then consolidate him, or pile in. It's not consolidate. Pile in is the beginning. Consolidate, I think, is the final. You then pile in to the nearby Death Guard squad. The Death Guard do not, at that moment, get to fight you. They can still fight in the fight's first phase. They can still be chosen if they are in combat with a unit, but they're currently not until you then go in and then attack. Fun little trick. Doesn't come up often, but it's something you can pull off if you have the right moment and the right vehicles for it. Or the right unit type. Because if you have a unit type that auto mortals when it charges and stuff like that, oof. Oof. Just run into something, auto mortal it, and then run into the fights first squad right after for pile in. Start swinging. Are Wraith Knights characters? They're characters, right? They're not just vehicles. I thought there was something weird about them. Because you have to be a character to shoot and do objective function. I'm pretty sure they're characters, right? I thought they weren't. Yeah, so you won't be able to shoot. That's the crazy part. Wraith Knights cannot stand on objectives, do the thing, and shoot. Unless it's different. But Goonhammer said that it's specifically Titanic characters that are allowed to do it. Yeah. Unless it's different. Like I'm saying, I found that out looking at Goonhammer. So there's a chance maybe they got it wrong, but I don't know. I think that's one of the... Dude, it sounds rude. It's only a slight buff to Knights, if you think about it. Because you have to be both Titanic and character. So, like, War Dogs still don't really work for it. Like, it's a much-needed thing for Knights to work. But I also think there's a lot of Titanic other things that won't get it, just because they're also not characters. Like, is the Biotitan a character? I don't think it is. I don't know if the Biotitan's a character. Ooh, someone else in the Say Hi channel. Ooh, a bunch of people in the Say Hi channel. Inkling. Inkling. Wave high, wave high. Dude, people coming in here for the Underworlds video. Love that stuff. Yeah, Biotitan's not a character. I figured. I figured. Get the glue down. So, like, it's kind of a buff to Knights, which is greatly needed, which is hilarious to say out loud, considering I just watched a tournament where a Chaos Knight player went undefeated and won the whole thing. I think he won. It might have come down to scoring. Pretty sure he won, though. There were a lot of undefeated players. Oh, nice. But it's not dedicated, right? It's not a dedicated transport. Because if it was dedicated and you put things in it with Scout, it would gain Scout, which would be hilarious. So. Oh, dude, one of the mission types, though, that we've saw that Goonhammer talked about, you can't use ploys in the first turn. He had his list was close to meta. Close. It had Nurglings, of course. It had Plague Bearers, of course. Fantastic for sitting on objectives and not dying immediately. Being able to achieve missions and do stuff around the outside of the, general area. So, yeah. This is what I kind of expected. But he was using a Cerastus Lancer. Was using a Cerastus Lancer. Brigands, Carnivores, Cerastus Lancer. That was his whole combo outside of allies. It'd be hilarious if that thing was dedicated. I'd love the hell out of that. I don't even play that army. But if one of the people from the local store, like Mikey or someone, was like, oh yeah, I'm using this because it's dedicated as a transport, I'd be like, what? What'd you just say to me? What heinous monstrosity have you brought down upon my army? I'm gonna scout move 6 inches. No. I'm going to have to master how to use the Helldrakes, though. Or the one Helldrake that my list has. Because the biggest issue with it is that rules for this kind of a thing, the aircraft and hover mode, just aren't fleshed out. It is going to be OC0, so I'm not going to be worried about doing missions with it. Like actions. But it can still perform certain missions, like engage on all fronts and such like that. Because explicitly engage on all fronts is like aircraft can't do it. But it doesn't sound like they're changing how hover works, which means the aircraft keyword's still gone in hover, which means I'll be able to perform those missions with my hovering Helldrake. It'll be pretty good. Venom Crawler 2. Alright, last thing we need is the little scenery component. There it is. That might be the case. If that's, to my understanding, Zero C was mostly about actions. I'll have to take a look. If not, I still want to use it. I still think it'll be interesting to have like a quick moving support unit that can just kind of show up somewhere and do what it needs to do. I still think it'll be really fun to use into flying enemies. The reality is I have no idea what I would go if it wasn't on the table. Like, I think at its cost, I could probably do like a Venom Crawler and then like another squad of cultists or something. Let me take a look at the Goonhammer thing. See if I can find the rest of the info. Actions are back. New mission rules. Where's the Zero C stuff? They had a specific segment. Actions. Actions are back. We now have formal rules for, instead of weird pseudo actions, it has Zero C. So that's actions. Mission rules. Not there. Rapid escalation. Raise banners. Not there. Dawn of War. We don't really care about the deployments. The things I'm looking for is ritual. So they changed some cool stuff though. The kill more, capture more can't be scored in the first round. So going second doesn't give you as much of an advantage anymore. That was pretty cool. The ritual, you can't make the thing at the beginning of your round. You make it at the end. So you can't make it and then do the action on it. That's pretty good. Burden of Trust. New missions. Terraform sounds interesting. Secondaries, here we are. Bring it down. Engage. At the end of your turn, score 2 VP if one or more non-aircraft unit from your army are wholly within 3 different table quarters and more than 6 inches from the battle, or 4 VP if you have units in all 4, more than 6. This is much easier to work than the old engage where you... Yeah, no. Zero C is only for actions. That's not an action. You just have to be in the zone. Unless the card itself says something specific. Zero C units can still perform the you have to be somewhere situations. From what I can tell. We'll see if it actually stays that way. Or if there's something specific that drops where the card's like, oh, by the way, Zero C can't perform this. So the main thing I can't do is be like, oh, let me deploy teleport homers with my Helldrake, because I can be there. Like, I can just be like, and I'm here. Also, it's kind of great that the CSM Codex came out and the Renegades are like, hey, we're going to be amazing in this meta. And everyone was like, wow, Renegades. And then the Pariah Nexus stuff came out and they were like, Assault doesn't let you do actions anymore. No. Renegade's still going to be really strong, in my opinion, because of the benefits they get. But, like, it used to be that they got tons of really good benefits, and they could perform actions from freaking advance rolls. And now they're just like, I mean, we got some good stuff. But we'll still need to, you know, focus on some things for advance rolls. So the trick with the biomines, I think, right, was that the change was so that you couldn't drop it on like an objective and then cleanse the objective. Because if you turn one, like when do the mines come out, right? This is something that I'd have to figure out the sequencing for. Because the idea with the mines, I thought, was to put them in a place that would annoy people, but have it be in a situation where if you started getting missions where it was like, oh, by the way, you need to be in the table corner. Well, guess what? You're in the table corner. Oh, you need to, you have to do teleport homers. You gotta do teleport homers by the end of your round. Oh, good thing I already have that mine floating back there that no one wanted to go to or deal with. So that's kind of the question, right? This is Goonhammer's take, but I don't know, man. No Prisoners is back. So a lot of it is like you have to control an objective marker, which means 0 OC units wouldn't be able to do it at all. But things like engage on all fronts, behind enemy lines. If you have one non-aircraft unit wholly within your opponent's deployment zone, 4BP. If you have 2, mercifully, you can now choose to reshuffle this if you draw it turn 1, and there's no more bonus points for scoring this in tactical mode. I don't know. From hostile, bring it down outside. Unless they said something in the 40k reveal for all this. Maybe not. Here we go. The final bits. 6 legs, only 4 points to glue. They are pretty big points, though. Dude, his base is so stupidly huge. Oh yeah, there still needs to be purpose. I feel like all units need a purpose to put value behind their points, even if people don't see it right away, right? Like because everyone's gonna look at my Helldrakes and be like, there's no purpose. But then, you know, you draw the right card, and all of a sudden I'm just like, oh, by the way, I can just do that. I can just be there right now because I need to be. It is difficult, I do agree, to pull it off. because Helldrakes are very large. So a lot of the missions that are like, you have to be wholly within, oof. Oofda. That is pretty brutal to try to achieve with a Helldrake. It might not seem brutal, it really is. Being like, oh, I gotta be completely in with this freaking model that is massive. Especially if you consider that when it's in aircraft mode, you're supposed to not think about like any of the side components that it has. You're not supposed to worry about like you're not supposed to worry about like the wings or anything. The aircraft is basically the base, which is that long, thin base. That's all it is. When enemies try to get line of sight on it, it's supposed to be, I think, mostly the base. I think they can still look at the model itself to a degree, but like measuring to go over stuff or around things or be over top of units, it doesn't really matter. Distances are measured from the base, and that is it. When it is hover mode, you're actually measuring from points on the model, which means I can't have it over top of these guys, because if it's over top of these guys, that means it's within the 5 inches that makes them not be able to stand there. Like you have to really master the model when it comes to like Helldrake style stuff. You have to master where it's going to be, what's going to be under it. It makes it very difficult to use. But I feel like if you can figure it out, it's good. Because if I don't need it, right? This is my big thing. If I don't need it for a round and I just have it at the back of my base, I don't need to screen back there. That thing is huge. That thing can cover. If a Helldrake sits in the middle of a table quarter, almost that whole quarter is undeep strikeable because of the size of the Helldrake. It's just so stupid. Like, it's just a box, like a giant freaking box. It's basically the size of like all these guys in this spacing. That's what that is. You've basically screened a quarter with one model, if you put it very close to the middle. So in my own base, the idea is the Helldrake will sit where he needs to in order to prevent enemies from coming in to that whole quarter. And then I just use the rest of my army however the hell I feel like it, because I won't need to worry about the back line. And then worst case scenario, if my opponent doesn't really have anything to deep strike on me, I've got this one thing that can just go, all right, I'm going to spend a command point, go through the walls, I'm going to end up 20 inches away from where I'm at, I'm going to shoot something, I'm going to assault something. And it just goes. All right, I got to get some magnets in these guys. I think we build the Oblitz. I think we just do it, just to get them out of the way. What time is it? 1:44. What do we do for this? Probably the biggest losers, though, in the Chaos Codex is still the Chaos Spawn. I'm almost expecting the Chaos Spawn in every Codex to be reduced in the same fashion. I don't know if you guys have seen the Chaos Spawn in the Chaos Codex. They no longer regenerate. So, you know, fun times there. They have 0 OC now. Oh man, dude. They used to be really fun. They were mechanically they were mechanically interesting units. Oh god. Come on, let go. They had a very specific thing that they did that made them very strong. Despite, at first glance, seeming very weak. I was genuinely hoping to use them in this list as like little 70-point mechanics units. But you can't. You just can't use them. They're not that useful. We turn the mic off. I'm gonna vacuum my desk a little bit, clear some of this stuff off. I'm gonna get some water actually too. Oh my god. One rhino away, boys. And that rhino should be here in like 2 days. And then I might try to set up a game this weekend. We'll get some of this stuff painted. But with everything in play, oh man, I want to play him. I want to play this army so bad. I always said the army I wanted to play for Thousand Suns was March of the Machines. And yeah, it just wasn't good. It's not a good Thousand Sun pick. You lose too much when you March of the Machines. And then Chaos Codex drops and goes, hey, you want to March of the Machines with me? Yes. Yes, I do. I still think making a vehicle demonic, utilizing the ploy from Soulforged, should give the vehicle a 5+ invuln. Straight up, it should just give the vehicle a 5+ invuln, if it doesn't already have it. I think that'd be great. Make all my Hellbrutes demons, so they're equivalent to the Thousand Sun Hellbrutes. Hoofda. 2 Venom Crawlers. Alright, let me get some magnets in these bases. And we'll do it. We'll build the Oblitz. Not useful for the army I'm playing. Probably best used in armies like the Fellhammer. Or even Renegades. Potentially Renegades. Probably more Fellhammer than anything else. Alright, obliterators. These look like they're going to be a ton of parts. I'm not looking forward to that. Okay. 24, 25, and 26. I might ask if anyone wants to buy them, too. Like, I don't think I'm going to paint them. If anyone at the store wants them. I know there was a guy going Fellhammer, but I think he was going Fellhammer for Terminators and Land Raiders. There it is. So I know we're mostly do tabletop stuff over here, but I do get a kind of side swipe of people from other places that I do things at. I know there was a lot of video game reveals recently. Two big shows. I think there's, what, 2 more still coming? No, 1 more still coming. Anything interest people? I'm happy to see more about Stalker 2, but I've also had experience with that company. So, kind of in a we'll wait and see situation for Stalker 2, because GSC always like promises, gets a little full of themselves, it causes problems with the game. And even though the game's like really cool, it's also really jank. And that always throws me off a little bit. Doom, interesting. Doom does look pretty fun. What else? Oh, I don't know if any of you have played State of Decay. I know a lot of people kind of trash on it as a title. State of Decay is actually really fun for me. And if you like tabletop games, honestly, take a look at State of Decay. What State of Decay does is it sort of creates a video game with very tabletop genre elements built into it in terms of like random event generation. No, yeah. The Ukraine stuff really did, like, absolutely mess with so much. Just so much. But even beyond that, historically speaking, like, Stalker 1 was, like, this very hyper-promised game from THQ at the time. But every time THQ supposedly would contact them back home, they'd be like, so when's this game coming, man? You guys have been telling us it's coming. And every time we come up to you and are like, hey, next year? And you're like, no. Like, you do have a game, right? Like, you're not just lying to us. And I remember the story was, it was taking so long that they sent a guy up. Now, this guy they sent up had only made 1 game in his entire history. And I think it was a really ill-received Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game on the Game Boy Color. Like, that's what this guy had as his prestigious history of games he worked on. They sent him to GSC and were like, make them finish it in a month. So if you played the first Stalker, like, it feels good to a point, and then you start getting into this very linear situation that doesn't feel great.
And that's because of him. That's that guy. That guy did that. And then THQ went under. And then GSC kind of tried to do its own thing on it, like, going forward. And it wasn't great. Clear Sky, they promised a lot with, like, factions and stuff. I remember my first playthrough of Clear Sky. We were running to the church to try to take it over. And then some boar ran by in the swamp area. And all the allies I was given to take over the church immediately turned to fight the boar, ran at it, and all died to an anomaly. Every single one of them. I'm just standing there like, what is happening in this game? Why? Why is it this way? Oh yeah, no. Then eventually the community mostly fixed Stalker. So like, I want to see what it's like. I'm most happy with the game in that it produced the company that made Metro, because Metro was really good, and it had a lot of like the same appeal, in my opinion. It just wasn't as open, which was kind of a little disappointing, but it is what it is. That was the whole thing though, because I think GSC sued him for utilizing elements of the engine that they had, the X-ray engine, for the lighting effects and stuff. But like, I want a Stalker game that's good. Like, that's my core thing. Every single time I see anything about Stalker, I want it to be a good Stalker game. I don't want it to just like peter out. I don't want it to, you know, have bad AI that just doesn't do what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to be amazing. So I'm hoping it's going to do well. State of Decay, though. If you haven't, yeah, I mean, Metro, the second Metro, right? They tried that as well, where that was on the train, right? And you go to different zones and it's like kind of open. I don't know how that one felt. That was like, eh. I didn't like the story, the way it worked. The way the ending worked, you had to get the good endings in every zone so that you don't die at the end. That's so weird to me. $29, $30, $28, $27. What really blew me away from the first Stalker, though, was the multiplayer. And it didn't catch on, and it only lasted a little bit of time. That multiplayer, though, like, anyone who really enjoys Tarkov right now, I do really feel like they owe so much to the Stalker multiplayer. I just remember playing it, and I was using one of those silenced, like the built-in silenced, fully automatic sniper weapons. Like, you could go full auto on it if you wanted, or you could switch it to single shot. And I just remember I was like super crouched in an attic, peering through a hole in the wall. And there was a guy that I saw peek around a corner, and I just lit him up. I was just like, full auto, just clean into him. And I saw him back out, and I didn't get the kill, so I was like, all right, let me go see if I can find this guy. I jumped down, I started walking through. And I just remember the thing that blew me away in that moment was when I got to where I shot him, I looked down and I saw blood. And then I looked up and I saw blood in a trail. And I was like, no way. So I followed the blood trail into a house, and I watched as the blood trail went into a room. So I assumed he was in that room. I pulled out a frag grenade, pulled the pin, counted down like 2 seconds, threw it into the room and killed him. I tracked a man using his blood. Like, that was the first moment when I played that game where I was like, holy crap, this is a good game. And I think the second moment was, I was in the pool map, and we were doing PvP in the pool map. And there was this guy, it was during the night hours, so it was super dark in the building. And I was just sitting in an area, and I saw someone sneak into, there was on the second floor. No, yeah, you'd think so. It was on the second floor in the building, and I saw him sneak into the crate, like one of those big cargo crates. And I had I had an SMG. I think it was close to like, kind of like a standard, like the Swedish style SMG. I'm trying to remember. I think it's like a P9. No, not a P90. I can't even remember what it's called. It was a pretty standard SMG, and I had armor-piercing rounds for it. So I swapped from the regular rounds to armor-piercing rounds, and I just sprayed the side of the freaking crate all along it. And you heard the person like take a few hits, but I was out of armor piercing. So he wasn't coming out. You know, he was just like super crouched in a corner, bleeding a bit, staring to wait for me to peek. So I went, you know what, screw this. I switched back to regular rounds. I angled myself to see kind of into the front, and I sprayed bullets into it, and I watched them just ricochet throughout the whole thing and kill him. God, that game was so good. Mechanically speaking, it was probably one of like the best shooters at the time. It was so fun. Stalker was also one of the first games I played that revealed to me the world of game development that a lot of people still, to this day, don't know about and don't think about because they assume all the games being made right now by all these companies are basically fully made in-house. That's the assumption. And I still see examples of this today, of people believing that. When they think a game steals from their favorite game, and they'll start posting like the animation comparisons and stuff like that. They're like, oh, they're stealing from my favorite game. Get them. And all I can do is kind of take a step back and think of what happened back in the day with Stalker. There was a news article that was dropped. I think someone posted on Reddit and they were like, oh, GSC stealing from Valve. That was a big claim, a bold claim. Apparently someone had gone into the files for Stalker and had discovered that the file for the headlight texture was also in one of the Half-Life games. It was the same size. If you put both the texture files next to each other, they looked exactly the same. So there was this huge thing of just like, oh my God, GSC is stealing from other games. Oh my God. Oh, everyone should bring this up. We should all call them out for this. Turns out, a lot of texture files when you're making video games, rather than having to pay an artist to make all these textures for you, what people will do is they will pay a company for texture packs and animation packs and all this stuff to give them a really good head start on development for their game. So the headlight texture that Valve used in their game came from one of these packs because they didn't want to have to make every freaking headlight texture in every vehicle for their entire game. So they found a way around it. And that's what it was. GSC bought from the same company. That's it. That's all it was. And now you get things today like when everyone was calling out Capcom for using a texture from a book of photography that someone put out. They're like, oh, they used that texture. It's all Capcom's fault. There's actually a chance that Capcom bought a bunch of textures from a company that they thought was completely on the up and up. And they thought that was fine. And it turned out that it wasn't. And that might just be the case. And people still do that today, man. Genshin dropped, and I remember just everyone being like, it's just Zelda, and then they show all the animations for Breath of the Wild that are similar to that of Genshin, and all I could think was, man, Nintendo must have bought from the same company that they bought from. Oh god, this sucks to put together. So yeah, Stalker 2, good to see stuff, although we still don't really know a lot. Definitely feels like they only gave us some of the story of what's happening. They missed out on a lot of the development stuff. State of Decay, although in a similar fashion to GSC, I would 100% say that you guys should probably not buy it right away, or at least wait to see what people say about it. Because every State of Decay that has come out, day one has been insanely buggy. Insanely buggy. And then it usually takes them like 5 months to fix it. But once it's fixed, it's usually really good. I think this isn't supposed to be here. Obliterator. I think originally Obliterators came in packs of 2 or 4. That kind of sucks. Because what if you were the type of weirdo who was like, I want 3 squads of 4 Obliterators? You would have so many Venom Crawlers. I think a lot of people in the rumor mill were saying that it was going to be Gears 6. So, like, I'm not necessarily surprised that there was a Gears game. I'm just kind of internally laughing at all the people who was like, oh, it's going to be Gears 6. It'll be the next part of the story. Like, nah, it's a prequel, bro. Which is tactically a good idea as a game that they're going to make. It's a good choice. Because I feel like a lot of people didn't enjoy the new character that they were trying to make like the main character for the Gears series. She was a little off-putting for a lot of people, even though the story itself was actually kind of interesting. So now they're just like, let's do a Marcus Phoenix game again. Get Marcus Phoenix back in here. Metal Gear Solid 3 remake. I'm okay on the Metal Gear series. I've played a few of them. Weirdly, my favorite with an asterisk is Metal Gear Solid 5. The asterisk is there because knowing what they were hoping it was going to be versus what we were actually given is a little annoying. I don't know if you saw the special edition. The special edition decided to show us, in the form of concept art, what the ending of the game was supposed to be. Oh, God, that was awful. Like, the fact that we didn't get the ending was just horrendous. Because it was supposed to be awesome. You were supposed to build up all this material and all these reinforcements and soldiers and all this cool stuff with your base to then take on the final mission. And the final mission was just you on an island with Baby Mantis and the Metal Gear Sahelanthropus and young, what was it, Liquid? And you were supposed to basically just have this massive combat on this island. Nope. Kojima fired. Game put out. And part of me gets it. Kojima's definitely like a dreamer type, which is never good for, corporate types. Like, Kojima's the one who's always just like, yo, this needs to be the way it's going to be. And then everyone in a suit and tie is like, we're going to lose millions of dollars. Still, 5 was my favorite. I loved the moments in 5, which those are kind of like the big things I think people talk about heavily when they play Metal Gear style games, are like the big moments. Those like emotional moments that happen. Like, there were a bunch of them in 5 that I remember. Spoiler territory for those who didn't play. When Quiet talks to try to save you during her mission, which means she can't be around you anymore because the disease that she carries will kill you. There was a really cool fan-made comic that came out after Metal Gear Solid 5. Because just like, Zelda before it, everyone tries to put together the time frame for Metal Gear, because Metal Gear is a weird time frame for the games being released to what actually happened in the story sequence, because the Nintendo game, one of the first ones that dropped, is actually very late in the series as of right now, like by comparison to what we have. Technically, I think what they determined, or the fans determined, is that the character you play in the first Metal Gear series is Venom Snake, the non-actual Snake. It's technically the Snake from Metal Gear Solid 5, which is why I think at the end of Metal Gear Solid 1, the actual like Nintendo Metal Gear game, that character I believe dies at the end. That's supposed to be his ending. Grab 31. And the fan-made comic, is the music over? Oh, dude, I've been talking in dead silence for this whole time. Jesus. You guys gotta tell me these things. So the ending of the comic that they put out for that... No, it's not supposed to be Solid. That was supposed to be Venom. Venom Snake. Which is, I think, is what everyone calls him at this point. So the ending was him sitting down. I think he knows, because he realizes at the end of the game that he's not Snake. Which is a weird thing to say out loud. But one of the big elements to my memory, let's see, 33, 34. For the comic at least, is he's on the radio talking to actual Solid Snake. because he does give updates to Snake. Like, he's kind of working for him. Just in a different capacity. Because he's, you know, he's still one of the soldiers. And he's just on the floor bleeding out. The nuclear bomb's about to go off, right? And he's relaying all the information. Solid Snake's on the other side, kind of like consoling him in his last moments. And then he looks up and looks over at the door, and Quiet's walking into the building to sit down next to him, and he goes, "That's fine. This is a good ending." And then everything blows up. I was like, holy shit. When fans make the ultimately good ending. Back to tabletop. Do you think Perturabo is going to be a giant obliterator? I think Perturabo is going to be a giant obliterator. I think we need a Primarch that doesn't have wings. Again, that's all fan theory for... it's not, like, confirmed or anything to my knowledge. It's just the theory of how that game actually ended. And who was actually being played in that game. Let alone whether that game's actually canon or not. Because you never know. But yeah. Thoughts, dreams, hopes on Perturabo, the Primarch. If he ever actually comes out. Because isn't that the thing? Like, everyone thinks he's coming. Like, hasn't that been a Valrock rumor for a while now? Is that Perturabo's on his way? How do you think they do that? Like, actually, how do we think they do that? Because the Codex is already out that he'll probably be a part of. People will probably use him in the Fellhammer. Do you think the Emperor Children's watch and speak brain rots? I'm trying to decipher that. Oh, you're dropping memes on me? Oh no. That means I'm gonna have to update my meme knowledge. I don't think Perturabo is going to do anything with Vash, because isn't the whole thing of Perturabo that he like has a superiority complex? So I don't think he would accept help from like anyone, right? Skaven Spearhead on top of the starter set of AOS 4th edition. Or just build up with box sets. Honestly, so historically speaking with Games Workshop, I don't know if it's going to be the same way with the pricing that's going forward, but normally what people say is to Skibidi meme. Oh, thing coming out of toilet. perceived negative effects. Skibidi toilet syndrome is a fake syndrome, slang term, referring to the perceived negative effects of watching too much Skibidi toilet has on children, allegedly causing them to act like Skibidi toilet themselves. So do we think Emperor's Children speak brain rot? Watch and speak brain rots. I don't know, man. I feel like every single moment of every single day for an Emperor's Children is probably a TikTok meme. But yeah, I think Perturabo would be on his own. I think he would be a giant obliterator. There's probably gonna be a special rule with him where he's gonna have a tree of guns he can shoot, and it's gonna let him shoot like 4 of them every single time he shoots. Like there's gonna be 10 options, and they're gonna be like, "Yo, you get 4." Honestly, I think they're going to make him Titanic. They'll give him the Titanic keyword. He'll be able to come in, do actions, and shoot. I'm gonna have to re-up my my Zoomer memes with the few Zoomers I know. Should I make it a bannable word? I gotta say, the side of my life that's more of like an illustrator. Yeah, you just realized that? I'm telling you, man. He's got to be demon. He can't have wings. He has to have like a really cool deep strike function, maybe. Maybe he just passively has 3-inch deep strike. Like it's absolutely insane. Where he could just appear right next to someone and be like, "How's it going?" And just end their lives. Point blank mode. Alright, so this guy gets a power fist, and then this version's done. What time is it? Alright, good. 36 and 35. Like 3-inch deep strike. He's got like the ultimate version of a melt-a-gun. Six-inch range, melt of 5. It's so brutal. Yeah, Demon Fulgrim from basically Horus Heresy. Fulgrim's the other one that I'm kind of hoping gets a shift. We've talked about it before on the channel, and I feel like a lot of you have probably already heard me say this, like a broken record. I think Fulgrim needs to be a 2-tiered demon, or a 2-tiered Primarch. That there's a version of him that's on foot, and if it gets past a certain point, he becomes like the full snake wing demon creature. Yeah, but not all demons have wings. Keeper of Secrets. Demon princes that are on foot, which are at times way more powerful than the winged versions. I still think the on foot demon prince is one of the best ones from Thousand Suns. Aura of -1 to hit. Have fun with that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though. Perturabo has to break the mold. Perturabo needs a 3-inch deep strike, 4-inch move. He needs to be Titanic. He needs to be a giant obliterator. $400 points. Like, figure out how to make and balance a 400-point obliterator. All I'm saying. Granted, I think obliterators, are they not considered demon? Because it is a disease, right? Like, the disease itself might be demonic in nature. But to my memory, the whole concept of what makes an obliterator what it is that it gets a disease and then the disease starts to like swell them up and consume weapons and produce just these weird results. It's actually making me wonder about the keywords. Because, I mean, Hellbrutes aren't demons, so maybe obliterators are also demon-free. Yeah, if you're referring to what I was talking about with Fulgrim, I think that would be the coolest literal endgame for Fulgrim, is a 2-stage demon. Because all the mainline Primarchs, from like Mortarion to Angron, like they all feel way too much the same, which actually kind of sucks in my opinion. Like, they have their own little flavors, of course, but still, it's just like giant model with really good stats with wings. You don't want them to bring back Kurz? A new follower has arrived. Inkling. Wave. Check core chat. up. Warhammer 40k. Chaos Space Marines. Obliterators. Oh, they are demon. I feel like a lot of... Well, okay. So, Games Workshop's, like, the overall realm is built around sort of easy retcon. Is, I guess, the way I would put it. Which kind of sucks. I do agree that people dying should carry weight to it. But, I mean, historically speaking, we're coming from a situation that involves stuff like... Now, which one is this? Did they not give me the number for the body I'm attaching? Oh, no, they do. Do they? No, they don't. I'm gonna assume it's this one. So, like, Superman coming back from the dead, all that. Like, it sort of makes IPs not want to kill off characters, because if people are suddenly like, yo, you know what would be cool if Kurtz comes back? They'll bring him back. If there's just this massive group of people who are just like, dude, I'd buy so much Nightlord stuff if Kurtz came back. Yeah, they'll bring him back. 38. Oh, that's why. They got that wrong. I get it now. They just called both sides 38. Because what, the underlying theory right now is that all Primarchs are demon princes trapped inside of people's bodies with like an element of the Emperor built into them. So it's just very hard to determine like what's actually going to happen when certain things occur. This is the weird situation, right? I've talked about this before with, like, IPs like 40k and all that. Right? What? Like, the fans of this type of thing write so much. We write so much fandom lore, fan ideas, fan concepts. Do you think it's a hindrance or a crutch for the company who wants to then make stuff like the different stories and things they write? Because I always felt like there was this like just this small weird issue of if enough fans write enough stuff, if that was the plan, like if the fans write, let's say one of the rumors being that the twin Primarchs for the Alpha Legion were actually triplets. That's why there's 3 heads on the Hydra. So even though they're dead, there's still the third one out there that no one knows about. It's a cool idea. It's fun. Could make for some good writing. But because the fans have already said it out loud, does it ruin the element that's there? Does it ruin Games Workshop from wanting to be like, hey, let's write this story where there's a third brother? Because now if they write it, it's just going to be a bunch of people being like, oh man, they took the fan idea. It's like, no. That was always the idea. It's just this weird back and forth. That's gotta be a weird thing for larger IPs to have to constantly deal with, like Star Wars and stuff. Have to deal with the fans writing up all this lore and fan fiction. The moment any of the fan fiction comes to fruition, Like, dude, we didn't even know your fan fiction existed. We didn't steal it. We didn't take your idea. Gotta be weird. At least I think it's weird. Maybe I'm the only one. Honestly, okay. All Bolter Legionary, you're getting the most possible thing you can out of your double Bolter Fire. You just got to figure out who to put the Tainted Bolts on. And genuinely speaking, I feel like it has more damage output than most things. Granted, when you say all Bolter, are you using the heavy Bolter? Like, is it that kind of all Bolter, or is it just a leader with a Tainted Bolt pistol and then a bunch of bolt gun guys? Korax, that's the Ravens leader who can turn into a Raven. Right? It's kind of like that, right? It's a little like that. Do you have bolt pistol chainsword wielders for warriors as well? Like, do you have options at least there, or is it just all bolters? Potentially. Which leader are you using? If you're using the Aspiring, I actually do think it's an okay thing to do for Bolt Pistol. Since he does get an extra activation function. Like, he'll be able to, in a double shoot situation, perform an action, double shoot, and then still do something. Like, he could then move if he wants to. I feel like all bolters is maybe easier to go as Death Guard, because Death Guard do get easier access to the bonus damage on bolt guns. I think Legionary only gets one tainted bolt attack, right? I think it's like a single use. I'll look it up. Yeah, he could do better. Honestly, you should be able to do work. The issue you're gonna have going into is other elite teams and teams with meat tanks like Gellerpox. But outside of that, double shoot's amazing if you consider double shoot with all those bolters into armies or squads like the Felgor. You should be able to easily handle Felgor with that. Because if you can kill a Felgor with the first wave and then actually kill him with the second, then you're doing more work than most. Legionary equipment. Yeah, so Tainted Rounds is a single pick. That's kind of where the weakness from Legionary comes from, because you would want Tainted Rounds on as many things as possible on the field, but you just can't get it. That sucks. I mean, you'll get your frag grenades, you'll get your crack grenades, maybe some aggressor simulants, warded armor on someone. I think the real loss is if you didn't take the heavy bolter. Because the heavy bolter is just amazing in that army for double shoot potential. I think it's so good. Toss a Suspenser on it. But technically that list has more consistent damage output potential than most other lists. Then again, you don't really have a front line outside of your aspiring if you didn't take any bolt pistols with chainswords. So it might be a little rough on the front line, is the big issue. I think in open maps it'll be fine. In close quarters maps though, that you're gonna have a rough time with. But it's not the worst thing. Again, though, Death Guard. Like, from everything I've looked at with Death Guard, there is actually a lot of viability to just go all warriors with Death Guard and give them as many upgrades to the crit damage for their weapons as possible. That is a scary list. That is a much scarier list than I think people would expect it to be. Oh, so you do have the options to go into melee for Legionary? Yeah, and then you're probably fine. Probably good. What marks you going? If you're building a roster and you go Khorne, that means you're starting Khorne, and then you don't pick Slaanesh because you can't pick Slaanesh. Which means you either get Nurgle or Tzeentch. I'm guessing you're gonna go Nurgle. Although, maybe Tzeentch. Tzeentch could be fun. Tzeentch has a bit more ranged potentiality. Might be useful. Yeah, it's a good one. I like to go Slaanesh with my Legionary. I know Khorne's generally good because you get to trigger crit damage, which is always fantastic to be able to just be like, oh man, I didn't crit. Guess I'll just use it instead. Here comes my crit damage. But I do like Slaanesh's bonus movement. And if you do get good enough support fire behind them, they're the only part of the Legionary team that can double strike in melee against injured targets. Which is really good into elites. Because an injured elite is something like 7 wounds. Like 6 or 7. Double striking that is just guaranteed death without taking any return fire. It's perfect. I think the combo, they have to be considered injured. I can't remember. It's been a while since I played my Legionary. They have to be considered injured, which I think means if you go Nurgle Slaanesh and you get a Nurgle guy up on them with his aura on, I think the aura makes them injured, or is the Legionary aura the one that just gives you reduced effects and doesn't actually injure you? It's been forever. I'm gonna get some games in at some point here, man. 41, 42, 43. Been putting a lot of effort into the 40k side of things. Now we got AOS 4.0 coming. Jesus. Jesus. I just realized that because I'm going the Pure Strain and Aberrant Genestealer cult route, I now have a Hive Fleet team. And one that a lot of people considers to actually be fairly good. Just 10 Genestealers. Yeah, that's what I figured. It's hard because you mix it up a lot since there's currently 3 big Nurgle elements in Kill Team. The Death Guard one is the Super Injury Aura, I believe, and then the Gellerpox passive one is just the glitch thing. I don't think they have that aura. Oh, now there's the Chaos Cults. The Chaos Cults get a similar aura now, too. No, yeah, man. Genestealer, the Genestealer team in LVO took, like, what? The 10th spot? The 11th spot? Out of, like, 144 players? They're a good team, man. They do good damage. As long as your timings are right, you're gonna kick someone's ass. Granted, my playstyle that I actually enjoy is Warp Coven, because I do love characters with a million gotcha mechanics. To the point where even if your opponent knows them all, which, good sportsmanship, you should probably tell them all of them. And it's almost like part of the strategy of playing Warp Coven, is that you want to tell your opponent everything you can do, and then smile at them as their brain also melts. Because they get to sit there and go, oh god. In any moment, you could do any of those things. It's so many things. And you're like, yeah, I know. But then they get to sit there and feel the same paralysis you're feeling when you're like, do I do this now or do I wait? Is this the right moment to trigger this effect? It's the secret strat with Warp Coven. Tell them what you can do. Watch as they just don't know what to do. Give me the rundown of your army. Alright, let me TLDR this as best as possible. I feel like if I ever went to a tournament and like I knew people at the tournament or something for Kill Team and I was planning on playing Warp Coven, I would probably just preemptively just be like, hey tournament organizer, I'm a Warp Coven player and I'll be there. And I don't know how many else will be there, but because I'm at least going to be there, maybe send everyone going to this tournament a link to the Warp Coven rules for Waha. It's like the best way to speed this up. Maybe I make like a 20-minute video going over like the current situation. Because the video I made for the channel is way out of date now. I do the data slate videos to try to like circumvent the need to just redo whole videos. But my video is out of date because of the massive changes the Warp Coven keep getting. So I'd have to just make a new video and just be like, all right, let me try to run this down for people. They can watch my Warp Coven primer. Oh yeah, my abilities persist between rounds. That's not common. Only us and the Hierotek can do it. And I think the Chaos Cult Icon Bearer. And that's about it at this point. That's probably going to be a 3.0 thing. I'm not going to lie. I think it'll be the greatest thing ever when they declare that abilities, like icon abilities and all that, persist between rounds universally. That'll be good. That's something that is actually kind of needed. I like that it's a little bit of like extra flavor for the Hierotek and the Warp Coven, but I do also like the other teams I've played that have things like that, like the Aura of Terror for the Phobos and all that. Whenever I think of it, I'm always like, man, if only these things were universal, like just consistent. If this was constantly an ability you had as the opponent to think about. That would just make this list so much more fun. If that could become the next universal change. It's an amazing kit. It's such a fun kit. It has its limits because you can't do the same things between all the sorcerers. So you have to kind of make that preemptive choice. But a melee sorcerer is actually horrifying. Like a Copish sorcerer that enhances itself with 1 or 2 buffs. If a nearby sorcerer provides it like a really good protective melee buff, and then it provides itself like a really good offensive mutation, like it just has it. God, that is horrifying. It is just way too scary and good. Melee sorcerers have surprised me every time I've used them. Yeah, if the Icon Bearer for Plague Marine was you activate it and then it persists until you go again and you have to reactivate it. There's still a cost. So it's not like it's just constant, right? Like it's not, you still have to kind of time it early and you have to kind of time it in your own phase as to when you're going to reactivate that character. But like, it just makes it not feel fun to use. And the bell, too. Like, think of it in the perspective of the bell. Imagine if you activate the bell, it stays active until your next activation. That would make turn 2 so much better for Death Guard. there's already people that kind of do it too. Like, that's kind of the annoying part in all of this. 49? No, okay. Like, the Votann, they have the units that apply an effect to the battlefield at the beginning of every round. It's kind of like that. Like, they just get to do things. And everyone else is just off to the side, hoping that they live long enough to trigger their effects. It did get very annoying that they decided to stop doing the White Dwarf updates. Because, by God, we're going to get 3.0 before we get a Tyranid Bespoke team. In an era where the Tyranid 40k update was like so many new units, so many new functions, so many new rules, so many redone character models. It's so much. They did so much for them in 10th edition. All they needed to do was go, all right, Von Ryan's Leaper's kill team. Here you go, Von Ryan Leaper kill team. White Dwarf mode. Yeah, and that's the thing, Shammy. Like, the Chaos Cults came out. They have an icon bearer that you can either choose to increase damage or to decrease incoming damage. Like, you get one of two options. It persists until that unit goes again. They just added that in the Chaos Cults function. It became, like, the thing that I looked at and was like, every icon bearer needs this. I don't know why every icon bearer doesn't have this. And then shortly after that became the thing, that was when the Warp Coven got persistent action. And that was when the Hierotek also, I think shortly before that, got persistent action. So it does feel like overall Games Workshop is leaning towards being like, oh, abilities need to just be happening. Dude, that was almost like a sick joke was when they showed off that White Dwarf combat patrol for Nids. Because it was a picture of Von Ryan's Leapers and a Lictor, and I was like, oh, it's going to be the coolest kill team ever. Oh. Like, oh, okay. I get it now. I see what they did. They gave the Nids a new combat patrol at the beginning of 10th, and then gave them a new combat patrol during 10th as well. Cool. Meanwhile, I'm over here with my 1,000 Suns. 2 Zangors, a squad of Terminators, and a Sorcerer. And all of my scoring potential in Combat Patrol is based on a D6 roll. Why? Why? This is the worst thing ever. I lost Combat Patrol matches because when I rolled to see how many side points I got from killing someone with a psychic attack, I kept rolling 1s. Every single time. I was just like, all right, here we go. Man, I got more kills with my flamethrower. Oblitz. It's so weird seeing these now, man. I'm telling you, the Oblitz I converted out of my old Terminators back in 4th and 5th edition looked so close to this. Now they just look like tiny Hellbrutes. I imagine this is where Hellbrutes come from, which is so much weirder. That they don't have the demon keyword. Because you can't tell me that doesn't look like a tiny Hellbrute head. Like, let me get my camera going. Boom. That's a Hellbrute, sir. It's just a Hellbrute head. These are going to become smokestacks. These basically look like Hellbrute feet. We'll have to see. I feel like they're gonna lean Season 3 more into like micro combat patrol. They'll just tell us units we can take. They're gonna allow it to be a little bit more freeform potentially, but not. They're gonna try to keep it like at least still within restriction. What we would expect would be the restricted elements, where you can't just be like, I'm gonna go 10 plasma guns. Hooray! Plasma go brrr. For a lot of people, Kill Team 1.0, that killed it for them. Was just all the teams that were just like, yeah, I'm 10 plasma guns. Behold all the plasma that I took. There's some team building now, but yeah, it's not a lot. It's still like choosing which gunner and heavy gunner you want. But they do need this system. I do feel like they 100% need the kill team system. Mostly because it's the 40k version of sort of like a more advanced Underworlds. They're trying to, I guess, get people to catch on with it. This kind of like you go, I go, you go, I go situation with, I believe people have told me the new like small game, Titanic. I can never remember what it's called. It's the new Epic. Is it Legion Titanicus? Legion Titanicus is supposed to be you go, I go. I think they tried to pull people in with it, but I don't know how many people actually got into it. Which is weird. I actually really liked the way they released Legion Titanicus. I didn't buy it, but when I saw it, I saw that they had, you could buy a box, right? And the box had square blocks of like roads and stuff that you would then put together, and then you would put the buildings on that. You could buy like 3 of those boxes or something, and then it would just come with a ton of terrain. You would just build this massive, actually really cool map. And then you had all the tiny stuff, and it's you go, I go, and it looks really good. And it's sold out locally in almost every store. But now that it's sold out in every store, one of the local stores I go to, where I bought the Gene Stealers from when I was there today, they had so many boxes of it, dude. They have so many boxes. They're just sitting on their shelves, and they got more recently, and I don't know why. The boxes are just collecting dust at this point. And it doesn't feel good, because like everyone talked about it, everyone said it was really cool. A lot of the people I play 40k with at the local group, they bought it, and they were like, dude, I can't wait to play this. they put together the baby rhinos. I should have bought a baby, or gotten the free baby rhino model. Because I wanted to make it a keychain. But yeah, it sold out day one, and then everyone reordered, and it hasn't been selling since. So, and no one plays. I never go to that store and see anyone playing on a table in that format at all. So I don't know what's happening. Oh, we are almost done the Oblets that I'm not using in my final army list. Maybe, though. Maybe we do keep them and paint them. Just because, you know, old time's sake. And then maybe these just become my, my like weird support units that I use, where I just drop them down in an area and they suck to kill. Maybe if I decide to go Fellhammer for a game instead of Soulforged for whatever reason. Because I feel like Fellhammer and Soulforged are very close in how they work. Dude, would you not want a Legion Imperialis Rhino keychain? Would you not want that? That's so cool. I would paint it like a little Imperial Fist keychain. Part of me wants to, like, Mod Podge seal one of these guys and just put a little keychain coming off the top of it. Little obliterator keychain. Protector of the keys. All right. I'm gonna need to get moving soon. We got the Venom Crawlers done. That was the big important thing for today. I am still weirded out that the Rhino I ordered like a week ago isn't going to be here till like Thursday. Do not know what that is. And I'm hoping it makes it and doesn't vanish in the mail like my Vashdor did, making me have to buy a new one. We've got pretty much everything put together for the Knights components that we were going to work on. It's kind of important. Looks like the glue that we applied to the Gatling cannon really solidified it. Or both my Gatling cannons. Battle cannons are the same way. All the Havoc launchers are just sitting over on my shelf. So we'll be able to paint those pretty soon. Like, if Thursday comes around and the Rhino isn't here yet, I think we're going to just get into painting. We're going to try to paint a bunch of the demons that I have floating around so we can prepare for AOS. And we will maybe get some base painting done for the rest of my Soulforged stuff. But, like, I want to try to get all the Soulforged units painted simultaneously, because there's going to be a lot of overlap with them. There's going to be a lot of the same gold, a lot of the same like blues and burgundies. Dude, Aldari in that scale would be awesome. Get all those Wraith Knights. Friggin' Titan-sized stuff. Where did the cap for this go? There it is. feel like if they make you go green tide at epic scale, they should give you basically a base that's this size, right? And just, you fill it. You just fill it with all these little tiny little models, and you just move it at things. Oh, dude, 30 cultists, 2 rhinos, Vashtor, 3 warp smiths, 2 venom crawlers for this army to be done. Outside of this, we have all the knights components. The Fate Skimmer, 6 Screamers, 3 Flamers. And we still have 1 final kill team to paint, as well as 2 unbuilt Underworlds teams that I didn't paint. We have so much to do, man. Projects never end. And we just picked up Gene Stealers, and we're probably going to need to grab 2 more boxes of Gene Stealers maybe next month or the month after. So that way I can get my pure strains together. And points changes end of the month, right? That's the big thing. I'm going to try to get a short form video format together. I know I've been talking about it forever, but I really need to do it. I need to give you guys more videos in a month. I feel like whenever I make videos, that's when, you know, people pop in, people say hi. The Discord grows a little bit. We get more viewers on the live side. So I just need to get into making more videos, even if they're smaller and not as like traffic pulling. As long as they do a little bit, I think I'll be happy. Let me get these out here. We bought, because we were planning for all of this, I gotta pull these out of their packages. We got 2. Oh, new bottles. Interesting. This better be the same gold. Boom, Vallejo Air Gold for our airbrush. This is a brand new bottle. This is not how they used to be put together. I do want to make kill team focused videos still. I do need to make shorter videos though, like shorter form talking videos to try to keep my channel in the algorithm, keep people interested in it, keep the algorithm thinking it needs to tell people about what I'm doing. I want to do scouts, I think, soon as an overview video. What other teams haven't I done that I have? Ooh, did I? No, I did cultists. We did Felgor. I think I did cultists. We have commandos now we can do. The breachers are going to be done being painted. We have the Kroot Farstalker. Those are done. We have, actually no, did I do Kroot Farstalkers without them being painted? No, we only did the 1 game. There we go. 2 golds. Oh, what other teams? So Kroot Farstalkers, Vet Guard, Scouts. I actually have no idea what else to do. Kill team wise. I haven't bought many of the new teams. My buddy's getting the Mandrakes, which he'll probably paint, and I could probably do those. Or I'll paint them for him, I don't know. It's up to him. Yeah. Got a lot of video opportunities. And then we can start doing some 40K. I want to do mid-form videos where I actually sit down and I talk about stuff from the codexes I have access to. I feel like it's a little weird to talk about specific armies in 40K and not every army. But I'm not buying all the codexes. That's not something I'm gonna do. I could take a look at and go over with the armies my buddy plays with him and then try to put videos together based on that information. So yeah, the 22nd. We might talk about the points changes. Maybe. I'm gonna try to get the video together, or the format together. I have an idea in my head of how it's gonna look, and it's gonna be cool. And it's gonna be quick. That's the key thing. Oh my god, it needs to be quick. If it's way too slow of a video to edit, I'm gonna be so pissed. Needs to be quick. Thanks for hanging out. Thursday is probably when we're gonna stream next. Make sure to keep an eye on the Discord. We'll usually post there if I'm streaming. A new video if you haven't watched it today. I imagine most of you have, which is always cool. Thank you, where I go over team building. AdMech does okay in big 40K, but it's not the way people want to play it. I think that's gonna be the biggest issue. Right? Like, I don't think they missed the mark on a team that could be good. I think they missed the mark on the way people want to play that team. That feels like actually what's happening with AdMech, which is weird. But yeah, see you guys next time. Later.